Sir Alex Ferguson made a habit of two things in the transfer market during his legendary reign as Manchester United manager: strengthening his squad when they were on top and/or pulling rank on Premier League rivals to do so. Only one time it might literally have backfired. United were hit deep when Eric Cantona retired in 1997, and it took them 12 months to adequately replace him. Not that it was a job for one player, mind. Already boasting Andy Cole, Teddy Sheringham and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as attacking options, Sir Alex craved the full set and did something he seldom turned to in order to get that missing piece. The Scot went public in his quest to sign Dwight Yorke, and that, ultimately, drummed up an almighty storm at Aston Villa. However, that was deemed necessary to win the race for a striker that Sir Alex confessed to worrying about during the early and mid-1990s, even as United swept all before them in their monopoly on the Premier League stage. But after watching Arsenal triumphed in 1998, they wanted their title back. Having flirted with the idea of signing Patrick Kluivert, who instead headed to Barcelona from AC Milan that summer, Sir Alex maintained Yorke was the one he wanted. Yorke, seemingly, has his head turned, although he pursued a move for the right reasons after a decade with Villa. It came to a point in my time where I could have stayed at Villa and be the main man and win a competition occasionally and be treated like royalty like I had been, or realize as a player at 26 years of age you've only got a certain amount of time to cash in if you're going to be remembered as a top striker. The words of Yorke as he, diplomatically, reflected on heavy-handed interest from United only last year. Speaking to the Villa Talks podcast, Yorke added, "I wanted to extend myself as a player to play against the best in Europe. Although, the chairman Doug Ellis offered me far more money than what Manchester United offered me to stay at the club. It wasn't about the club and the players, it was just that I needed to challenge myself in an individual point of view. When United came in and Sir Alex says, 'Come and play for us.' They are the best club in the country. They're winning Premier Leagues, competing in the Champions League. As a player, that's the level you want to be at. Unfortunately, in my 10 years at Villa that never really happened. I had a very difficult decision to either stay at Villa and get a bigger pay packet or leave. But it wasn't about the money. It was about the challenge of testing yourself against the best across Europe. Manchester United came in and it was kind of a no-brainer in many respects. Only the decision was not quite as straightforward for Villa. Having been their crown jewel in the Premier League for several seasons, Yorke underlined his ability as Villa mounted a superb late charge during the 1997–1998 campaign by winning 9 of their final 11 games to clinch a 7th-place finish. They had found themselves perilously close to the relegation spots at that stage when John Gregory, a central figure in this story, took over from Brian Little upon his resignation. Yorke netted 7 and 7 during the finale and his stock was as high as ever. Sir Alex came calling, but the Midlands side naturally wanted to keep him, and Gregory made that clearer than crystal, serving up soundbite after soundbite, and one in particular which presented headline writers with an open goal that Yorke would have craved with the ball at his feet. A couple of weeks ago, Dwight openly stated to me he wanted to play for Manchester United and not Aston Villa. That really hurt me, and if I had a gun I would have shot him. Not your average response, but atypical of the time before structured and micro-managed dealings with the media. Gregory left nobody questioning what he thought about York wanting to move on, having stood firm throughout the summer months on a talking point which dominated news outlets before, during and after the World Cup finals in France. It was not the first or last time Gregory was pressed on York, and, despite Villa initially digging their heels in with a view to building a vibrant side around the Trinidadian favourite, he eventually pitched up at United for no less than £12. 6 million. It meant Sir Alex had broken the club record twice in a matter of weeks after getting his hands on colossal Dutch centre-back Jaap Stam before the big kick-off. Despite, reluctantly, accepting York might be on his way, Gregory had held firm under intense scrutiny from the media prior to that throwaway bombshell. Bids were made, shots were fired, thankfully not literally, and it created the sort of chaotic yet compelling public transfer saga which went on to become the norm. Back then, they were not so commonplace. From the moment United registered an interest to the date York signed on the dotted line, on August 20 in 1998, his then manager and Villa had played hardball and continued to do so long after York went goals galore in the number 19 shirt. Reflecting on the transfer 25 years on in an in-depth interview with Birmingham Live, Gregory and his stance towards the transfer had only marginally softened, but he did show a little more respect when it came to the popular frontman he adored so much. "I only had him for 11 league games at the end of the 1997-98 season," he said. "He played a huge part. He was my big star, and I had Sir Alex pestering me not long after I had taken the job. I was set on what I was going to do. There was no way I was going to sell him. No way. United weren't having him because we were building an exciting side. But sell him, he did." It was the following morning, after the first game of the 1998-99 season versus Everton, when he came into my office and told me exactly that. It was an insult, the way he turned around and just said, "I don't want to play for Aston Villa anymore." I was hurt and I ushered him away. He was miserable around the place in the weeks leading up to that, and I knew something was up because Yorkie's always smiling and was the life and soul of the dressing room. "I'd lost him way back," Gregory continued. "I actually met Dwight when I was managing at Chennai, and it was really good to see him again. A lot of waters passed under the bridge. I loved him when I had him, but it was Brian Little who should get all of the praise. York blossomed under Brian. He took him under his wing. I just wanted to build my team around him, which, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do." York scored 80 goals in 255 games for Villa while providing 15 assists and causing havoc for Premier League defences, with United no exception. But his departure left a bitter taste, and it is only with passing time the legacy he created there has been upheld. Incidentally, it was Villa who topped the standings after 18 matches the following season. How about that for a scenario? However, by the time his debut campaign finished, York had in many ways written his United script already, by spearheading the treble-winning push with 29 goals and 19 assists from 51 appearances. Money well spent and his decision fully vindicated. Addressing his relationship with Gregory then and now, York said, "For my time at Aston Villa, nobody could take that away. I gave 10 years to that football club and every moment I loved. I loved the fans, my connection with the fans. I loved playing for the football club and enjoyed that. The gun thing was just a no-nonsense kind of thing." I don't think he ever meant that. The media played that up and it span out of proportion. I never took offense to that and I understood his disappointment in me. But, from my point of view, I felt that I was making the right move at the right time. It just felt right. York spent 4 seasons at Old Trafford in the end, totting up 66 goals and 31 assists from 152 games. But he, most importantly, left with a further 2 Premier League winner medals and unparalleled memories from that night in Munich and beyond. It was a shot even Gregory knows he was right to take.